this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 11th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today. Could see a pop-up shower. High 68. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 61, and then Thursday, rain, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, it's 56 and cloudy in Suffern up in Rockland County, 55 and cloudy in Butler over in New Jersey, and it's 57 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
An FDNY fire truck, part of a deadly crash in Brooklyn. Mayor Mamdani rights a wrong on Staten Island. Could the minimum wage be $30 an hour in the city? The earth really moved under their feet in Sleepy Hollow, and dog owners in Hoboken are just not behaving. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. One person dead, 10 people injured. Chain reaction crash involving a fire truck here in the city, 3 other vehicles in Brooklyn last night. This happened about 7 o'clock, Gravesend section of the borough. Video shows the fire truck, lights on, heading east on Avenue S before it strikes a white van at the intersection of West 11th Street. The fire truck then hits an accessoride van and a Lexus, and somebody in that accessoride van was killed in this crash.
I heard that the van had the green light and the fire truck came this way. I don't know if they had the siren on or not. I had no idea. I didn't hear no sound, to be honest.
So the person aboard that accessoride vehicle that was killed, a 78-year-old. And because it was so beautiful last night, there was a lot of people on the sidewalk. A lot of people saw this. Now, we're getting 2 different stories here. One, people saying this fire truck did not have its sirens on. Others are saying they think it had its sirens on.
There were almost like 7-8 people in there. And most of them, I feel like they were hurt because they were already like disabled.
He's talking about the people in the accessoride car that were hit.
And then the door would not open, and the officer was trying to push it, and it took a long time to open the door.
Now, what police are telling us, at least 5 firefighters who were aboard that fire truck, they were taken to the hospital, as was the driver of that van, the driver of the Lexus, and the driver of the accessoride bus, and 2 passengers who were aboard it. All were said to be, as of last night, stable condition.
Very bad tragedy for my worker. Going to pass the green light and the fire truck without the siren, the red light.
He's a little hard to understand, but he is the owner of that white van that was hit. He says the driver is going to be okay, but it was awfully frightening. And again, people saying they're not sure if they heard sirens, but you can imagine where you might not remember if you heard a siren after seeing something traumatic like this accident, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
This is madness. You didn't hear any sirens? No, not in my part, no.
Yeah, so we'll follow up on that story, but awful out of Brooklyn. 5:03, there was a deadly subway accident in Queens yesterday, one that just wreaked havoc on the evening commute.
An F train on the Queens Boulevard line struck and killed an apparent trespasser at the 63rd Drive Rego Park station. No word on an ID or what they were doing there. It happened a little before 5:15 Tuesday evening, and FDNY crews had to cut power to the system's 3rd rail. That meant service on the E, F, M, and R lines was suspended until 7 p.m. No one on the train that hit the person was hurt. Some 200 passengers were evacuated. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
Down to Ocean County over in New Jersey, where the prosecutor there identifying the family and the gunman killed early Tuesday in what now is being called a triple murder-suicide.
Berkeley Township Police responded to a home on Fairview Drive at about 5 a.m. after getting reports of shots fired. Prosecutor Bradley Bilheimer says 37-year-old Vaughn Stewart gunned down his in-laws, Alan and Michelle Russell, and then chased his estranged wife, Deanna, down the street while she was fleeing. Bilheimer says he shot and killed the 38-year-old mother of three before shooting himself in the head. The couple was separated, with Vaughn Stewart living in Maplewood and Deanna and their kids staying with their parents. The children were unharmed and are now in protective care. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
And if that story can't be awful enough, we're being told the kids were in the home when that shooting took place early yesterday. Thank God they were not harmed. 505 out to Long Island. The kids at a school, Westside Elementary, that caught fire yesterday, they'll be back in class this morning. They'll be going to other schools, though, by class, separated at 3 different schools in the district. Westside Elementary catching fire early yesterday morning. Classes were canceled for the day, but amazing they got it together to have classes today. Students upset to hear the building caught fire.
When you heard about the fire, you guys didn't end up going to school today. What was that like?
It was really sad. I was really sad.
Yeah, 150 firefighters took about 2 hours to bring this fire under control. Nobody inside the building at the time. Damage was really significant, though. The school's library, community room, creative learning labs, they were all destroyed.
When you heard about the fire, you guys didn't end up going to school today. What was that like?
It was really sad. I was really sad.
I think we heard from them already, but district officials say the timeline for returning to Westside Elementary, that remains unclear. The building goes back, by the way, all the way to 1790. In fact, historians say President George Washington was touring Long Island and happened to stop by this school. At least that's how legend has it anyway. And what they're being told, this blaze was started by some sort of electrical flaw in the building. The NYPD giving the all clear yesterday afternoon and after investigating a suspicious device near the home of Mayor Mamdani, Gracie Manchin.
The NYPD says the device was cleared and is not a threat after they closed down the area near the mayor's residence Tuesday afternoon. This comes just days after 2 men allegedly tried to detonate explosives in front of Mamdani's home in what police called an ISIS-inspired terrorism incident. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says the pair told investigators they wanted to kill more infidels than the 3 victims who died in the Boston Marathon bombing. The 2 are now being held without bail, facing terrorism charges. The FBI also found additional explosive devices at a Pennsylvania storage facility in connection with that investigation. In New York, I'm Liz Warner.
WABC News Time 508. Lawmakers warning again that construction could stop again on the rail tunnel project connecting New York and New Jersey if federal funds do not keep flowing.
Crews just restarted work 2 weeks ago on a new rail tunnel under the Hudson River after stopping for almost all of last month once federal money set aside for the project ran out. A federal judge had to order the Trump administration to send the money, but now Gateway Development commissioners are saying they could be back in the same predicament in 2 to 3 months if more of the federal money already approved is not sent. President Trump has been against paying for it, but that federal judge last month basically said too late. The federal funds were already set aside for the rail tunnel. I'm Levon Putney.
We've been watching overnight explosions rocking Tehran again. Israeli forces bombing a building in central Beirut, causing pretty extensive damage. White House says the military operation against Iran has been a resounding success.
The United States military is making tremendous strides towards achieving our military objectives for Operation Epic Fury.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt talking to reporters yesterday. The goals include making sure Iran has no nukes, dismantling ballistic missile capability. She repeated the president's warning to Iran that it will be hit 20 times harder if it restricts flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz.
This campaign has been a resounding success thus far, and America's warriors are winning this important fight at an even faster pace than we anticipated. Iran's ballistic missile attacks are down more than 90%, and their drone attacks are down by approximately 85%. since the start of Operation Epic Fury.
Yeah, but this morning, 3 vessels off Iran's coast have been struck by projectiles, the latest in this flurry of incidents reported in or near the Strait of Hormuz. One of the ships reported it had been struck 11 nautical miles north of Oman in the Strait of Hormuz, causing a fire on board. It forced the crew to evacuate. We're told they're okay. 2 other incidents also reported this morning, with one vessel struck by a projectile about 50 nautical miles northwest of Dubai, and another sustaining damage off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. Now, we don't know exactly where those missiles have came from. This all just coming into us in the last couple hours. 4 Iranian diplomats have reportedly been killed in Israeli strikes on the capital of Lebanon.
According to Iranian state media, the diplomats were killed Sunday in an Israeli attack on Beirut. Israel has been carrying out attacks across Lebanon in recent days, targeting sites linked to Hezbollah after the Iranian-backed militant group began launching strikes at Israel. State media reports that Israeli attacks have killed over 500 people in Lebanon, while the UN officials say almost 700,000 people have been displaced. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Down in Washington, the Senate Armed Services Committee holding a briefing for senators yesterday on the war in Iran. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, part of that briefing, he did not come out of it happy.
I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran.
He's worried that ground troops could be sent into Iran.
We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. I emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate.
Meanwhile, President Trump says he's aware the U.S. government is alerting law enforcement that Iran may be activating the sleeper cells. He says Democrats, though, are the biggest obstacle right now to investigating those threats.
One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up.
Democrats have withheld funding for the Department of Homeland Security until there are reforms to ICE. The federal government alert says it intercepted encrypted communication believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. That all sounds kind of frightening.
We're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Now, this alert says the transmission appeared to be destined for clandestine recipients who have the encryption key. Pentagon says 140 U.S. service members have been wounded since the military operations began. In a statement, the chief Pentagon spokesman says the vast majority of those injuries have been minor. 108 service members have already returned to duty. 8 service members were listed in severely injured. And then, of course, the 7 U.S. service members have now been killed since the beginning of Operation Epic Fury. 5:14. The Senate yesterday advancing a housing bill that could potentially be up for a final vote by the end of this week.
Senators voted 89-9-1 on the bill, clearing a key hurdle on a package aimed at bringing down housing costs. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act mixed up pre-existing Senate bill with parts of a House-passed measure that advanced through the chamber earlier this month. The timing of a final floor vote depends on the amendment package, but if the legislation is approved, it would greenlight incentives to build new homes, allow for new grants to overhaul homes, and more. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
The race to fill Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat going to advance to a runoff election. Democrat Sean Harris, Republican Clay Fuller emerged atop this crowded field. There's 22 candidates yesterday. Former Republican State Senator Colton Moore came in a distant third place. He was the first to concede.
Folks, I really appreciate each and every one of you for coming out tonight. But if you look at the poll numbers, they don't really look that good for us.
Yeah, they weren't. Neither Fuller or Harris secured 50% majority. The winner of Georgia's 14th congressional district will now be decided in a runoff that takes place April 7th.
So we're not giving up, and I just ask that each and every one of you don't give up. because the next generation is going to depend on it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned from Congress at the start of this year after having a falling out with the president. Fuller was endorsed by President Trump last month. In a moment, we'll tell you about how the White House is pushing hard to pass the Save America Act. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Happy Hump Day. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Happy Hump Day. Good morning to you, Noam Laden. Start here with the World Baseball Classic out in Houston. The United States suffered one of the biggest upsets in the 20-year history of the WBC, losing 8-6 last night in a stunning loss to Team Italy. Manager Mark DeRosa said he misspoke earlier in the day when he said Team USA had advanced to the tournament's knockout round, regardless of the game's result. In an appearance Tuesday morning on MLB Network, DeRosa said of the game against Italy, quote, "We want to win this game, even though our tickets punched to the quarterfinals," and he was wrong. Their tickets not punched, and its fate, the USA's that is, now depends on the results of Italy and Mexico's contest tonight, the final game of the WBC's Pool B. Should Italy win and finish pool play at 4-0, the United States would advance as well. If Mexico wins, however, it would finish at 3-1 along with Italy and the U.S. In that case, the tiebreaker considers runs allowed per out recorded. If the Italy-Mexico game goes 9 innings and Mexico wins and scores 5 or more runs, the U.S. and Mexico would advance. Should Mexico win while scoring 4 or fewer, it would advance alongside Italy, and that would leave the United States out of the tournament.
Okay,
did you get all that?
That's the most complicated thing I've ever heard.
Did you get all that? Did you write all that down?
So the birthplace of baseball, essentially, the story here is could be knocked out of the World Baseball Tournament.
Potentially, yeah. If Mexico wins tonight in 9 innings and they score 4 or fewer runs, basically the U.S. is out of the tournament.
Wow. So they are crying in Cooperstown and Hoboken as we speak.
No, I mean, that'd be a disaster. I mean, Italy's not a bad team, but come on now. What are we doing here? They got that, like, Vinny Pasquantino.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you have to rely on a game to get into the
I know, right? And
knockout.
Like you went 3-1 in pool play. Like you would think that might be enough, but I don't know. What's with the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Runs allowed per out recorded?
Yeah.
Why can't we just go like by runs scored?
How about
runs for, runs against?
Runs wins.
Runs for, and then you go to runs against if you got a tie there. I mean, that's...
Wow. No wonder Italy was always on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Jeez, are you kidding me? Just stick to making pizza.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, apparently
they're all stupid people.
Yes.
Apparently they're good in baseball too, though, now. So.
Yeah, 1-8-6. I mean, close game, sort of. But, geez. what a weird tie. What a weird way to figure this out.
I think even if you said that to me a second time, I don't think I'd follow it.
It's incredible. I was trying to figure out a way to explain it in a shorter way, and I couldn't do it.
That totally sounds like an Italian way of fixing the game. Are you kidding? Jeez.
My God.
Hey, we got to win this one, okay?
Yeah. Come on. Ciao.
You know what to do.
So we'll keep an eye on that, I guess. Out in Brooklyn on the hardwood, the Nets lost 138-100 to the Pistons. Up next for them, they'll visit the Hawks in Atlanta tomorrow. Tonight, the Knicks, they're back at it in Utah against the Jazz. That's a 9 p.m. start there. Another big story out of the NBA last night. Bam Adebayo had a night for all time with a point total second to only Wilt Chamberlain in the NBA record books. He scored 83 points, setting league marks for free throws made and attempted in a game in the Heat's 150-129 win over the Washington Wizards. So that was a crazy night last night for Adebayo. The guy couldn't miss 83 points. He beats Kobe Bryant, who was in second place to Wilt Chamberlain. Obviously, Kobe had that 82-point game. Adebayo beating him by just 1 point. And in college basketball 2026, Big East men's basketball tournament begins today at MSG. First round, game 1, 8-seed Butler against 9-seed Providence. That's 4 p.m. 7-seed Marquette and 10-seed Xavier get going in game 2 at 6:30. And later on tonight, 6-seed DePaul against 11-seed Georgetown at 9 p.m. Quarterfinals will get underway tomorrow. That's featuring top seeds here, St. John's, UConn, Villanova, and Seton Hall. That action will get going at noon tomorrow. That is your Sports Noam. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC, news time 5:21. Let's head down to Washington. White House again pushing pushing hard for Congress to pass the Save America Act that primarily focuses on voter ID. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president's calling on Congress to get the job done, finally send him a bill.
The Save America Act is overwhelmingly popular with all Americans because each provision is rooted in common sense.
She pushed back on mostly Democrat claims that say the act would prevent married women from voting due to their name change.
Passing the Save America Act is the most important thing that Republicans and, frankly, Democrats can do to strengthen election integrity and protect our democracy. The president is calling on Congress to get the job done and send this historic piece of legislation to his desk immediately for signature.
And Republicans backing President Trump's plan to end birthright citizenship. Texas Senator Ted Cruz leading the charge, says it was meant to address the status of slaves after the Civil War.
The view espoused by my Democrat colleagues that the 14th Amendment confers citizenship on anyone born on this land is a relatively recent view.
The president's executive order, which was issued last January, it's right now being challenged in the courts.
And directly contrary to the almost universal view at the time the amendment was ratified.
Yeah, the Supreme Court, though, going to schedule to hear arguments on the 1st of April. Airport security wait times causing headaches for many travelers as this partial government shutdown continues. At Houston's Hobby Airport yesterday, there were passengers waiting in security lines that went out to the door and out to the parking garage.
We tried to allow a little more than 3 hours to get here.
I've been waiting in line for about 2 hours now. Got nothing else to do but
now,
wait.
The shutdown has left most of the Department of Homeland Security, including the TSA, without funding since mid-February. TSA employees have already received one reduced paycheck and are poised to miss their first full check this week. So some of those people are not showing up to work, and maybe on some level, who can blame them? Correspondent Tom Costello talking about this shortage of workers.
At Houston's Hobby Airport, those lines have been snaking out the main terminal, down to the baggage claim, and all the way out to the parking garage. The airport is warning TSA wait times could be 3 hours or more.
Okay, now, so I can tell you from a personal experience yesterday, my youngest brother who went back to Israel, I said, you better get to the airport early. So he left Hoboken at 9:45. He got to the airport at 10:15 yesterday, way early for his flight because I'd warned him. And then he called me about 17 minutes later and he said, I'm already through security and I'm waiting in the terminal. He was very angry at me because he said, okay, now I got like 3 hours to waste at the airport. So it doesn't hold true for all airports. Of course, you can check those security lines before you head out to the airport so you don't get stuck like my brother did. 5:24, Canadian authorities looking for the gunman who fired shots at the U.S. consulate in Toronto. Toronto Police Service said this happened yesterday and they don't have a motive yet.
Our community has experienced a deeply concerning incident, and I want to begin by acknowledging the worry and uncertainty many people are feeling today.
So that's the chief superintendent of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Thankfully, nobody was injured. Don't have any information on what they think might be two suspects.
There's obviously formal communication going on with our U.S. counterparts, the FBI, the consulate itself here. We've had members at the consulate here this morning, along with Toronto Police, meeting with staff here. We have increased security around embassies and consulate buildings here in Toronto and in the Ottawa region. I can confirm that the RCMP is working closely with the Toronto Police Service and our international partners who will assist us in a fulsome investigation into the shooting at the American consulate.
The first thing they're looking into is the possible links to the ongoing U.S. military operation against Iran. Florida Senator Rick Scott, he's tired of this going back and forth with daylight savings time. He's been on this for a while, and he says he's hopeful that what he calls the Sunshine Protection Act will get passed, though he says right now it's not being taken up by lawmakers.
There's enough people here that oppose it, so I have not been able to get a vote on it yet. But I think if you look at more and more states every year want to go to daylight saving time because people like the daylight at the end of the day.
The senator says when more states pass similar bills to the one that Florida passed years ago, he believes Congress will finally get it done. The bill would allow states to remain in daylight saving time year-round.
I'm going to keep focusing on it, but more and more states are passing laws like I did when I was governor to say the moment the federal government allows, we're going to go to daylight saving time. So I think as more and more states do it, then I think we'll get it accomplished.
Yeah, so a lot of people say it's just silly that we go back and forth. WABC News Time 526. Home sales are picking up as mortgage rates have been declining.
The National Association of Realtors says existing home sales increased by 1.7% in February. The group's chief economist cited improving affordability as the key factor. Month-over-month sales of previously owned homes rose in the Midwest, South, and West, but fell in the Northeast. I'm at Mattinson.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 11th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sun, clouds today. Could see a pop-up shower. High 68. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 61, and then we're going to see rain most of the day on Thursday, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 56 cloudy in Suffern up in Rockland County, 55 and cloudy in Butler over in New Jersey, and it's 57 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 540. Was that an earthquake in Sleepy Hollow yesterday? It was. For many who lived through the minor but memorable experience yesterday. It was about 10:17 a.m. when the ground shook for maybe 7 or 8 seconds. Some neighbors, they said it sounded like 2 explosions and then everything shook.
It just felt like the ground shook. It was crazy.
Yeah. There was like a huge noise that there was a truck, but then I realized, no, it looks like it's an earthquake.
Now, it was a magnitude 2.3, which I imagine in Los Angeles they would find laughable. It was a shallow 4 miles deep, but small enough, but apparently not unheard of to have these quakes in Westchester County. They did have a 4.0 that hit Ardsley back in, that was October of 1985. But this one, a fair amount of people felt. Some of them ran outdoors just to make sure that it really was an earthquake and not just like a truck going by.
2 times. It was boom, boom. It started rumbling slow, and everyone kind of stopped talking, and then it picked up to a much more violent shock. But the whole thing only lasted maybe 7 seconds at most.
Yeah, so experts say such tremors are in the Ramapo Fault Zone, which Sleepy Hollow is part of, often felt in a widespread area because the Earth's crust is particularly dense in this area. I don't even understand exactly what that means, but apparently that's why a lot of people in the area felt this earthquake yesterday.
It just felt like the whole ground was like shaking, and we went outside and all the neighbors were out and like, did you feel that? Did you feel that? And like, it was an earthquake and all the dogs were barking like crazy.
Now, the earthquake felt as far away as Mount Kisco. Over to New Jersey, where just an awful story coming out of Berkeley Township. A triple murder-suicide yesterday. Apparently a husband killed his in-laws, then killed his wife, then turned the gun on himself. This happened on Fanwood Avenue. Officers responding to a home after reports of shots were fired. Neighbors, some of them, they said they heard this gunfire yesterday.
I heard around probably 4:45 some, like, about 6 shots, like bang, 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 bang. But then at around 5:04 is when I really heard bang, 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 bang. Like it was going to come through to my house, and I didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah, so the Ocean County Regional SWAT team, they entered this home. They found 2 victims dead from apparent gunshot wounds there. They were the in-laws. Apparently, this individual, the husband, then chased his wife down and shot her, then returned to the house and turned the gun and shot himself. Now, if that's not awful enough, and really, I mean, that's, you can't make up a story just that bad. The kids were in the home at the time. Now, thankfully, the husband did not harm them. We don't know how old they are and what they may have witnessed.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
I pray for the families and the victims involved.
We heard multiple gunshots, and I mean, I thought it was fireworks, to be honest with you. Turning out to what it is really unfortunate, you know.
Apparently the husband and the wife going through a divorce, and the neighbors said they didn't know these people that well.
We don't really know the people over there, but it's so sad to hear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, that it's very tragic.
It's a sad situation because this is not a town that you expect any of this to happen.
Yeah, well, it happens anywhere now. Law enforcement sources say that the couple's children right now are in police custody. Over to Long Island, where there are accusations that a Long Island school bus driver sexually abused at least 2 children. The attacks, though, came 18 years apart.
Bernardo Amaya was arrested at his Bayshore home Tuesday evening. The 75-year-old driver for Educational Bus, Inc., who also works at St. Luke's Roman Catholic Church in Brentwood, charged with 2 counts of sexual abuse and 3 counts of endangering. Police say he inappropriately touched an 8-year-old girl in August and did the same to a 4-year-old girl in 2007. She's now 22. They think Amaya met both girls at his home through a child care worker in his family. Police are asking other potential victims to reach out. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
In a moment, we'll tell you about a crossing guard who was attacked on the job. Who attacks a crossing guard? We'll get into that in just a moment. For first 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ella.
Thank you, Noam Layden. We'll start here in Houston. World Baseball Classic action last night. United States suffering one of the biggest upsets, I should say, in the 20-year history of the tournament, losing 8-6 last night in a stunning loss to Team Italy, and even manager Mark DeRosa doesn't even really understand how this tournament is working. He went on MLB Network early yesterday and said, hey, listen, we're going to play this game like any other. But regardless of the result, we've already punched our ticket to the quarterfinal. And oopsie daisies, manager DeRosa, he was completely wrong. And Team USA has not punched their ticket to the tournament part of this little event here, the World Baseball Classic. And now it all depends, after this loss last night to Italy, what happens between Mexico and Italy tonight. Both of those teams are 3-0 right now. So should Italy win and finish pool play at 4-0, the United States would advance as well. If Mexico wins, however, it would finish at 3-1 along with Italy. In the U.S., in that case, the tiebreaker considers runs allowed per out recorded for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Begging you stop.
Yeah, really. You know what? Can I ask you this? So, should I really care about this tournament? Aren't the majority of the players on the international teams Americans who are just saying, like, okay, I'm Italian, so I'm going to play for Team Italy. I'm Jewish, I'll play for Team Israel. So why do I care about this tournament then? Because it's not really Italians playing against Americans.
I mean, I cared until Mark DeRosa went on MLB Network yesterday and completely got the format of the tournament wrong. I mean,
but it's Americans playing against Americans just under other... I don't know. It seems like the whole thing seems kind of silly when you think about it.
I completely agree with you. I mean, just scrap the whole thing and put baseball back in the Summer Olympics. What are we doing here?
Right. It's not like the Olympics.
No,
it would
of course
really be,
not.
Because then we would destroy every country we played.
We should still be destroying every country we played. Well, other than like the Dominican Republic. And,
maybe.
But I mean, you look at this lineup top to bottom. I mean, come on. You can't be going out there and losing to Italy. What are we doing here?
It's worth it. Ask Edwin Diaz. It was...
Yeah, exactly. Right. I forgot about that. I forgot about the Edwin Diaz. Exactly. Yeah. Right, and then you're out a closer. You're out an all-star closer for the entire season.
Yeah, he lost a year.
Yeah, an entire.
Sound like the Mets? Nope.
But a lot of these teams have insurance policies when they send these players to the World Baseball Classic. So I mean, I guess that's some level of a silver line. Yeah, exactly. That'll help. But yeah, weird. So we'll find out what happens tonight with Italy and Mexico, and the U.S. could just be bumped from the tournament, and then we could all really stop caring about it.
Yeah. Can we just get baseball underway?
Yeah, let's just start the season. Yeah. What are we doing? Out in Brooklyn, the Nets lost 138-100 to the Pistons. Up next for them, they'll visit the Hawks in Atlanta tomorrow night. The Knicks, they're back at it in Utah against the Jazz. That is a 9 p.m. start there. A big night last night for Bam Adebayo. Record-setting night for the Miami Heat. A player, he registered 83 points in the Heat's 150-129 win over the Washington Wizards. That puts him second behind Wilt Chamberlain for most points scored ever in a single game. Of course, Kobe Bryant had that 82-point game late in his career for the Lakers. But last night, Adebayo besting that mark by just 1 point. So it goes Wilt and Bam Adebayo on that list, and Kobe Bryant
incredible,
in third. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
83 points. I mean, how do you even get the ball that much?
Well, at some point, they just start feeding it to him because they want him to break
100%. Exactly. Hot hand indeed. And the 2026 Big East men's basketball tournament begins today at MSG as well. Game 1, 8-seed Butler against 9-seed Providence. That's at 4 p.m. 7-seed Marquette and 10-seed Xavier get going at 6:30. And later on tonight, 6-seed DePaul against 11-seed Georgetown at 9 p.m. Quarterfinals will get going tomorrow. St. John's through into the quarterfinals, as well as UConn, Villanova, and Seton Hall. That action will get going at noon come tomorrow. That is your Sports Know, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:51. A crossing guard attacked broad daylight on the job in High Bridge up in the Bronx. The attack happened on the intersection of Girard Avenue and East 167th Street. It was about 8:15 in the morning. Peak hours for crossing guards as they cross kids who are trying to head to school. The 46-year-old on duty when a person she said she did not know approached her and then just punched her in the chest. She had chest pains. I mean, thankfully she's going to be okay. She was checked out and she later went to the hospital on her own just for further evaluation to make sure she was okay. But people in this neighborhood who know this crossing guard say, who punches a crossing guard?
That's sad to hear about that, you know. And this time, and you have to be aware of what's going on around.
Yes, there was no words between the attacker or the crossing guard. Police say the person responsible ran away. They're asking anybody who has any information to come forward and they'll give them a holler, let them know what they saw, maybe give them a description of the person who punched that crossing guard, who, by the way, is going to be back on the job today. New York City's minimum wage could climb to $30 an hour in the coming years. A proposal in the city council stands to benefit a fair amount of New Yorkers if they can actually get this done. Wage increase advocates, they took to the steps of City Hall yesterday. A bill in the council proposes raising the minimum wage to $30 by 2030. The proposed legislation calls for workers at workplaces with more than 500 people to get that $30 by 2030. City Councilwoman Sandra Nurse, she's the person who's behind, or one of the people behind this bill.
Actually, just meet your basic needs. You need to earn about $38 per hour. Today, we're just asking for $30.
So the staggered increases would start next year if they can get this done. The head of the Queens Chamber of Commerce, he says, are you out of your mind? Businesses cannot afford to pay workers $30 an hour.
$30 an hour, 2,000 hours a year, that's $60,000 plus fringe. How can an entry-level person make close to $80,000 if there's going to be benefits and fringe? It's not sustainable.
Yeah, McDonald's work at $80,000 a year? I don't think so. A food fight between food vendors yesterday in Central Park ended with a woman slashed and in the hospital.
Police say the slashing Tuesday was the latest in an ongoing feud over sales territory in Central Park. The victim, a 24-year-old woman, was found near 63rd Street and Center Drive around 1:30 Tuesday afternoon, cut several times. She's expected to recover. Her attacker was last seen running towards Heckscher Park with two other people. Police say the two had another incident over park territory back in December. Their investigation is ongoing. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
We told you earlier this week about the subway shoving that took place at the 63rd Lexington Avenue subway stop. This jerk who they caught, he pushed a 30-year-old onto the tracks. No words were exchanged. Then he pushed an 84-year-old senior citizen onto the tracks. And now we're getting word from that family that he's in awful shape. I mean, it's just a terrible story. He's an Air Force veteran. His name is Richard Williams. He was just minding his own business on the subway tracks when he was shoved onto them. And he has not woken up since this took place. His granddaughter, she spoke to CBS, teary-eyed, saying that her grandfather has always been the light of her life.
His brain, he's bleeding. They can't stop the bleeding. The hardest part is that I'm not going to be able to hug him again.
Yeah, I mean, it's just senseless, totally senseless. The Williams family now praying that he's able to open his eyes again. Over in New Jersey, Governor Mikey Sherrill delivering her first budget address yesterday, proposing a record $67 billion budget for fiscal year 2027.
Today, I'm submitting
to this legislature the most fiscally responsible budget that our state has seen in years.
We'll have to wait and see if that holds true. Cheryl called her 2027 spending plan the most fiscally responsible budget. She says there are no tax hikes, state pensions fully funded, but eligibility caps for senior property tax breakthroughs through the Stay New Jersey program would shrink in half. She says it's time to close the deficit and fix things that are wrong, but do it responsibly.
Since our Constitution requires a balanced budget, failing to act now would trigger far worse in the future.
All right. And over in Hoboken, we've been seeing these stories all across the tri-state here in the city as well. As the snow melted and now really has gone away, what's been left behind has been dog poop just about everywhere. Hoboken has this problem as well. The mayor there putting a PSA on social media saying, hey, dog owners, be a little more responsible.
And this is a PSA that I cannot believe I'm making. Hoboken, we really need you to clean up your dogs. So please, Hoboken, let's work together to keep our city clean and welcoming for everybody.
Apparently, neighbors have been reaching out to City Hall, emails, phone calls, saying the doggy defecation is so bad, it's just about everywhere. Sidewalks. In fact, they even set up an Instagram page now where you can report offenders, which I like this idea because I have a dog and you got to be responsible with your dog. So here's some people out on the streets.
We have a few hot spots in town that we're paying attention to, but it was pretty widespread, and that's why we decided to take it to the next level and do a public service announcement.
And now that the snow has melted, it's like you have to do a dance when you're walking to avoid it, truly.
Yes, here's the issue. In Hoboken, they have 80 pet stations across the city. I mean, so there's just bags everywhere. So just the fact they're not picking up, there's 500 garbage cans. So there's plenty of places to pick up and dump.
I don't understand it. If you have a dog, it's something you signed up for, especially in a city, but no, this is the world we live in. Not everybody's doing what they should be doing.
No, they're not. And so there's fines, by the way, that go as high as $2,000.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.